This is the moment last month when teenage car thieves broke into a house in Dublin and stole the key to a Volkswagen. They broke the lock of the house door and grabbed the key from inside. The doorbell camera captures them using it to unlock the car door. But the thieves' own camera captures their joyride as they speed down the N3, filming until they meet the blue lights of Garda cars. The teenagers in this car were later arrested. Gardaí believe that at least one is a leading member of the so-called Lucky Dip gang, a loose association of mainly Dublin-based juvenile car thieves thought to be responsible for thousands of crimes, including hundreds already this year.
Well, what you're talking about here is a group of up to 60 juveniles are linked to 300 incidents this year, and not all of them are car thefts. Some of them are burglaries. Some of them are attempted burglaries.
They will go out to housing estates dotted around, let's say, the Eastern region or Dublin metropolitan region, and they will just go along and simply just try every car door in a particular housing estate. They are not mastermind criminals. They're simply looking for an easy opportunity to get a car, steal a property, whatever property might be contained within the car.
Vehicle theft and related offences are not a new problem, but they have surged in recent years, hitting almost 8,000 in 2024, a 12-year high and over double the 2021 figure. The Lucky Dip gang are believed to have contributed significantly to the upsurge in vehicle theft. They often target housing estates under cover of darkness, but they also operate in plain sight. Because unlike traditional criminals who would seek to hide their crimes, these teenage thieves typically flaunt their wrongdoing, sometimes uploading footage of their joyriding to the likes of Snapchat or TikTok for the whole world to see.
They love social media. Their mates are seeing it and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is that this is inspiring other youngsters.
Here, thieves escape Gardaí by driving the wrong way down a motorway. Here, they drive into oncoming traffic. Here, they break speed law at 192 kilometres per hour. And here, speeding while undertaking on the hard shoulder. And here, speeding through a neighbourhood and breaking a red light. Their activities garner them likes and other engagement from their followers on social media. But they can have devastating consequences.
Gardaí and emergency services arrived here on the R106 Coast Road in Baldoyle in the early hours of this morning, where the fatal incident occurred just before 1 a.m.
We were very, very close. He was due to be my best man at my wedding. Typical older brother, younger brother. You know, fight from time to time, but loved each other completely.
41-year-old Michael Farrelly was mown down last July in Dublin while walking home from a family gathering.
He was at the Gaiety Theatre with my dad's wife and a few other relations. They went to see Riverdance. And afterwards they went to a bar, local bar here in Sutton. And then at about midnight everyone kind of went their separate way. Mikey walked home, he lived quite local. And then that's when the accident happened, about 50 metres from the entrance to his own estate. We know that the car that killed him was stolen in Malahide, and that the people who robbed the car managed to break into the house and steal the car without the owners even waking up. And at least one of the people in the car was actually on bail and under curfew at the time when the accident happened. He shouldn't have been out, he should have been at home. And that was very tough to take. It makes you think that we have no proper solution to deal with people who can go out and steal a car, get arrested, go before the courts, be bailed, be put on curfew, and then they're brought home. They walk in the front door and then they walk straight out the back door and they do it again that night. And it seems like there's no protection given for the victims. Their lives have been taken away from them and their families' lives destroyed.
Under the current system, there appears to be no effective deterrent for a car thief under 18 who refuses to abide by bail conditions, because the state's only facility for detaining children in Oberstown in North Dublin is typically at or near capacity.
As recent as January this year, bed capacity in the children's facility in Oberstown was full for 24 straight days.
Juveniles who steal cars are typically initially dealt with under the Garda Youth Diversion Programme, which means no criminal conviction. And those children who are prosecuted and brought to court are typically given bail pending their case, and if convicted, usually get a non-custodial sentence. That's because they are children, and also because car theft is considered a non-violent crime.
We have been successful and made a number of detections in this type of crime. And to see the individual back out in the street the next day is very, very disheartening for our members.
So what can be done with prolific child car thieves who consistently ignore bail conditions?
One of the things that has been really effective in the youth justice system is the bail supervision scheme. And the reason why it's been so effective is this is a multidisciplinary team who go into the home, work with the young person, find out what their issues are.
But what about those who simply refuse to cooperate?
Young people who engage in crime, they're very often leading very chaotic lives. They may have underlying issues as well, whether those are mental health issues, whether, they've suffered the loss of a parent, maybe parents aren't in the picture. And the other piece is that neuroscience is very clear that young people's brains, particularly young men's brains, do not fully develop until the age of 25. So they don't understand the consequences of their actions very often. They are impulsive. But it also means that if you intervene early, then you can actually help change behaviour. It's very costly to send a young person to Oberstown. Would that money not be better invested in community supports, in mental health supports, in educational programmes for young people who offend?
So just how expensive is the ultimate punishment, jail? According to the Oberstown annual report for 2023, the average occupancy was 35 young people per day. Given that almost €22 million was spent on administration and operations that year, that equates to a cost of over €1,700 per child per day, or just over €623,000 per year. But there's also a cost to leaving repeat car thieves at liberty. Primetime has seen internal Garda figures showing that 11 suspected members of the Lucky Dip gang, with an average age of 16, have been charged with 427 offences. That's almost 40 each. Some individuals in the gang are suspected to have been involved in hundreds of vehicle thefts. This car was stolen in a break-in a month ago in Kildare by thieves believed to include one of the most active members of the Lucky Dip gang. He is just 15. Shortly afterwards, the thieves filmed a video of the car for uploading onto TikTok.
That car was stolen in a burglary in County Kildare and was then used for at least 6 thefts, burglaries on commercial premises.
Official figures show that incidents of vehicle and associated theft in Kildare have more than trebled since 2021, from 100 to 344 last year, an 11-year high. Local radio Kildare FM hosts a weekly crime spot with a member of An Garda Síochána.
Joining us for Crime Watch this morning is Sergeant John Dunn from Newbridge Garda Station. Morning to you, John, and thanks for coming in to us this morning.
Monday the 24th of March 2025 in Newbridge Garda, you're investigating a car theft which occurred between 3:15pm and 4:30pm.
It feels like every week, week after week, there's a heightened focus on car thefts. And what strikes me as well is it's very widespread. It's not just focused on a certain part of Kildare, but up and down the county. It really is an invasion of their privacy, because a lot of people might think, well, the car has been taken, that's it. But it does have a lasting impact on people.
European car makers are legally obliged to fit anti-theft immobilisers, but many smaller used cars imported from Japan do not have these important devices, and that makes them a target.
If the car doesn't have an immobiliser, it essentially leaves it open and susceptible to hot wiring. We go back to the days of kind of the old 1980s pre-immobiliser days, where you're effectively back to using a steering lock or a steering chain, a visible and physical deterrence to somebody who may be considering stealing your car.
Joyriders often post videos flaunting the tools of their hot wiring trade, used to take cars like this recently stolen Japanese import.
Okay, so somebody entered this vehicle by prying back the driver's door, pull the door back like this, and then they get their arm in and they're able to unlock the door. We can see in this case that the plastic cowlings on top and bottom have been broken away from the steering lock and the ignition switch. And they've obviously broken the steering lock on this vehicle. Probably used an object like a screwdriver to pop out the actual key barrel that's in this. And in at the back of the key barrel, there's an ignition switch. And there you're able to use a screwdriver to twist the ignition switch and start the vehicle.
Japan, where people also drive on the left, has overtaken the UK as our main source of used cars, with registered imports rising over 1,150% from just over 2,300 10 years ago to just over 29,000 last year. While some importers retrofit immobilisers, many don't, which means the pool of cars that are relatively easy to steal has grown.
Since Brexit, it's become more difficult to import UK cars because of the increase in VRT, excise, VAT. It's quite difficult to import cars from the UK. So a lot of the cars that are coming now are coming from Japan.
And this appears to be another small Japanese import, filmed by innocent bystanders as it's chased by at least 6 Garda cars. And Garda Síochána has recently introduced an updated pursuit policy.
The most significant change, I suppose, is that a pursuit can take place within certain conditions, but it comes back to the first members on scene to consider, is a pursuit worthwhile? What offence has possibly been committed? The possibility of danger to the members of the public and also to our colleagues as well, ourselves, and particularly the driver of the other vehicle or potential passengers that are in that suspect vehicle as well.
Pursuing stolen cars can carry professional and legal risk for Gardaí. Primetime has seen a copy of the internal Garda pursuit policy. This includes a list of 10 criteria that Gardaí must consider before pursuing a stolen car. The policy alone is a 13-page document, and Gardaí must also comply with key parts of a further 13 documents referred to in the policy. It's a lot to take into consideration in the heat of the moment.
All the policy documents that exist in respect of pursuit driving are all heavily swayed in favour of the criminal that might visit your estate and take your car, and not towards the Gardaí that are tasked with apprehending these individuals. Everything is all right until it goes wrong, and then the individual that's charged with making that decision will be the one subject of investigation.
Joyriders sometimes goad Gardaí, like this one, giving them the middle finger.
I know members of the public may get frustrated but when they see online video clips and that type of thing of guards effectively not engaging in a pursuit or not engaging in a chase or not responding to goading. But we are professional members of Garda Síochána. We have been trained to not respond to that goading as much as we possibly can.
While most joyriders are not associated with the Lucky Dip gang, it is easily the best known grouping among juvenile car thieves. And Garda Síochána have it in its sights. Primetime has seen a recently compiled internal Garda document which describes the composition of the grouping, their level of offending together, and suggests that Gardaí are considering classifying it as an organised crime group.
I wouldn't specifically say that they're categorised as an organised crime group. As I say, that takes an investigation on a grander scale.
One of those suspected to have been in the car that killed Michael Farrelly last July has recently turned 18 and is now in detention on other charges. He has amassed over 40 convictions in his young life. Since the hit and run, he has been arrested or prosecuted in relation to at least 8 separate incidents, including several separate car thefts.
It's shocking, you know, to think that someone can have that many convictions, take a life, and still be getting arrested. It's just a very difficult thing to hear. Like, a lot of people have said to me, like in sympathy, that poor Mikey, you know, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, but he wasn't. He was exactly where he should have been after a night out with his family. He's just walking home and he was almost there.